Hi friends, this is Caitlin, and today we're going to be making a perfect all occasion card that is great for year-round card or gift card giving needs. So I was inspired by these new stamp sets from My Favorite Things. This is the Coffee Break and the Full Circle stamp sets. I just got these in the mail this day that I filmed this, and I literally could not wait to use them. So I'm going to be bringing in this bear from the Sweater Weather in the Woods stamp set. I am obsessed with this bear. This is not the first time I've used him, and we're going to be playing with layering up some of those solid circles as well as that coffee cup ring. And then I did get a restock on my Pawsome polka dots paper pad that I love. Now is a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to keep getting more card making inspiration with me. I post videos every Friday, and I'm going to try a few times a month to put out an extra video on a Tuesday here or there whenever I can. I've done a lot of thinking about what I want 2023 to look like, and it really is in my heart to make these videos, and so I definitely want to be putting extra focus on my YouTube channel this year and getting out even more content for you guys. If you have any suggestions, anything you would love to see or questions you have, please leave me a comment down below because I could always use some inspiration. So I'm going to be starting with creating my main panel. I trimmed a piece of the this is Neenah 110 pound solar white cardstock, and I'm going to be laying out my circles just to start getting an idea of where everything's going to go. I ended up with a diagonal line going from that upper left down to the bottom right, and I do have my sentiment in there just as a good placeholder. I wanted to also make sure I was going to have room for my little bear on the side without him covering up all of that inky detail. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with the Summer Splash and the Craft inks. These are the ink cubes from My Favorite Things, and I do love them. My Vintage Timber, which we're going to use in a minute, has gotten a tiny bit dry, but the other ones are still in great shape, and I've had them for over 2 years without re-inking. So that tells you everything right there. So I used those lighter colors for those bigger circles. I'm going in with the Vintage Timber for my coffee cup ring. And then what I'm going to do to add a little extra pizzazz is go in with these pattern stamps as well. The stripes up on the top, the dots down on the bottom. And I wanted them to be a little wonky, a little off center. And I'm going to be using the Vintage Timber for those stamps as well. So I think I went in with 2 layers of that. I did 2 or 3 for that main ring, just because, like I said, that that ink has gotten a little dry, and I wanted to make sure that my images were nice and crisp. Even though they are like a distressed kind of style stamp, I still wanted it to look like this stamp and not extra distressed on top of that. So I also used that Vintage Timber for my main sentiment. I thought that would be really cute instead of using black to go in with this really beautiful deep brown. And I love that it's a coffee break for you. And for a change, I'm actually gonna decorate the inside of my card. I know you're shocked, but we'll get there. So while I was in my Misty, I went ahead and stamped out that little bear from that Sweater Weather set. I just love him so much in his little sweater with his coffee cup, and I think he makes a great addition to all kinds of cards in the fall and winter and even spring. You could give him a little springy colored sweater and he could hang out. So the last thing I'm going to do for my coffee background is to splatter some coffee drips across it. So I am taking that same Vintage Timber stamped onto an acrylic block with some water. My brush was a little bit dirty. I think it had white paint left on it, so it did kind of create a little bit of a cloudy brown. Totally fine with me. I just took I combined tapping the brush with my finger as well as off of the edge of my acrylic. I find that with my finger gets me bigger splotches, off the edge of the acrylic gets me smaller splotches. It also has to do with the size of your brush, so keep that in mind. And then I'm just pressing onto my paper towel to make sure that I got any droplets off so nothing would smear. I always do my flicking, when I remember to at least, into a shipping box from Simon Says Stamp. That's my splat box, and I just throw some paper towels in the bottom. So I grabbed this pattern paper from that Pawsome polka dots which technically is one shade darker than the Summer Splash, but I really liked how they went together. My Favorite Things, if you don't know, has a page on their website that tells you all of the colors in all of their pattern papers so that you can coordinate them with their inks, which I absolutely love that they do that. So now on the inside of my card, I added a smaller sentiment and stamped it with that same vintage timber, that time to treat yourself. And then I re-stamped that little coffee mug ring, but this time with the Summer Splash blue color, and I love how that looks just tucked down in the corner. So I added some of my Tombow permanent adhesive to the front of my card, and I'm adding on my pattern paper. I like to take my time with this step just because, you know, once it's on, it's on. And then I adhered my white panel down with liquid glue, especially because this is really thick cardstock. I knew it could take it. It wasn't going to get ripply or anything with that liquid glue underneath, and it would give me an extra second to kind of squish and adjust my card until it was lined up how I wanted. So once I had all of that in place, it was time to get to my Copic coloring. So I'm gonna jump in with my E40s for my little bear. I wanted to kind of pick some browns that I thought went really well with that craft ink, which you can see on the upper left corner there. It is definitely more of almost like a khaki kind of tan. So versus being like purpley or orangey based. And so I thought that the E40s would go really well with that. I kept my shading pretty simple, going in with the E44, 43, and 41, I believe. I did bring in some 42 at one point, and I will have all of my colors and everything listed down in the description box below for you guys, like always. So yeah, I do have one more Christmas card coming this week on Friday at my normal time. And I'm going to actually be using that full circle stamp set again for that card. But I am almost out of Christmas steam. I don't know about you guys, but this year, for some reason, I just have had a very hard time getting in the Christmas spirit. I've seen lots of other people posting online that they're feeling the same way, so I know it's not just me. So sometimes it is nice to take a break from the Christmas madness and create something unrelated. So that is why I made this card. I just love having cards like this in my stash all the time, something that I could give to a friend or as a thank you card, send to, you know, family who might be going through a hard time, or they're just extra stressed and they need some extra love. So something like this is really sweet to put a little gift card in, or honestly just a little note for a coffee lover in your life. And yeah, I just wanted to make it. He just makes me happy. So, and these stamps are definitely a different style for me. And I love being kind of pushed to use my inks in a different way than I kind of am naturally drawn to. So going into 2023, I also want to continue to push myself to experiment with what I'm making, and definitely have a lot of fun with what I am creating and my crafts. I also am going to push myself to make some videos that might be a little different. I want to do a yearly recap for my social media. I found that I've had a hard time finding information out there about, you know, what crafty YouTube channels are doing as far as analytics. And what, you know, what growth looks like on different social media platforms for people in our niche, in our industry, in our community. Not a lot of people seem to be sharing that information, and so I'm gonna start sharing it, I think, for anyone else who may come after me or at the same time who's been curious like I am. I just want to throw it out there. So look for that kind of video coming in January. If you have any questions that you're interested, that you'd like me to make sure that I cover in that video, again, leave me a comment down below. You can also always DM me on Instagram. It's Caitlin Annalie Cards over there as well. I've been trying to make lots of fun reels and videos on my Facebook and Instagram and TikTok lately too. I just feel like these videos in general, whether they're long or short form, are definitely bringing me the most joy right now, and I've had so much fun making them. So I went on that tangent. I gave my little bear a matching teal sweater. And now I'm gonna go in and pick out some sequins. This is the roasted coffee sequin mix from Pawsome Stamps. These are my all-time favorite browns. I love this mix. I need to reorder because they're just so beautiful. At first I thought I was just gonna do the 3, but with the 3 rings and then the 3 sequins, something just felt off to me, so I ended up adding in 2 more. I do usually try to go with a odd number just to, you know, keep it appealing to the eye. It's not a hard rule, just something that I like to do when I can, or kind of my default to start, and I can always adjust from there. So just to get an idea of how things are really going to look, I'm going to lift up my little bear and just tuck that sequin under to make sure I like where everything is headed. When it comes time to adhere these all, I'm going to go in with my liquid glue to glue down my sequins, and then I'm going to use foam tape, this really thin foam tape from Simon Says Stamp, which is my absolute favorite right now. It comes in teeny tiny squares and bigger squares, and you can get a multi-pack that comes in white and black all in one. And it's so good. It's just enough dimension to give you a little something without creating bulk on your card, and I just love them. So I am going to pop up my bear with that foam tape, get him into place, and then I'm going to tuck that bigger sequin right under his little arm where he's holding his coffee. Anytime I can and I'm using sequins, I do like to tuck at least one of them underneath. I've seen a lot of other crafters do it, and I just think it really helps to bring everything together. It kind of ties all those different planes together in one card. So that is my finished project for today. I hope that you are feeling super inspired, whether it's to finish up your Christmas card making or jump into something new. I can't wait to see you later this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and as always, happy crafting.